Hi, I'm George, I'm with LSTV, and today we are here with a member of Student Rebellion, asking a few questions as to their occupation of the Esther Simpson building. Now, can you tell us exactly what's been going on today, what's been happening, and just give us a timeline of events so far?
Well, what we are doing is we are occupying the Esther Simpson Lecture Theatre until the university administration agrees to our three demands.
So that includes having an ethical careers policy, so not allowing companies like Shell and other fossil fuel industries onto campus to advertise. That includes stopping accepting funds from fossil fuel companies that have a massive sway on our curriculum. And it also means to stop investing in fossil fuels as well.
Okay.
In terms of timeline, we arrived at 8:30 as soon as the lecture theatre opened, and we've occupied it ever since.
So, it's been established so far that you are here indefinitely, ideally, until the university respond to your demands. In the meantime, what's happening here? How do you plan on biding your time until you get that university response?
Well, the significance of taking a lecture theatre affords us a lot of opportunities for education. So, for example, today we had talks or rather presentations by an organisation that comes from Mexico, I believe, about incorporating more communal, indigenous originating ways of education and focusing on decolonialism, especially in Western institutions, and acknowledging other forms of science and knowledge that come from other parts of the world. And we also had a talk from the direct action group, Palestine Action, which was very enlightening and very, very exciting. And we are also getting in some lecturers who may like to, who deal with subjects related to sustainability and social justice, and we're having them also give talks. And it's basically providing a space for alternative education and allowing for more voices to be heard for however long we're here.
So we've hosted 2 workshops already, but we have so many planned. We've hosted ones about liberating education and Palestine Action, all of these collective learning. So we have a little bit of resources, or we have someone coming in to speak, and we kind of question it and critically think together. We have university lecturers coming in, talking about anarchism and direct action and unions. We have quite a lot of people. We've been kind of secretive about the occupation, but just told a few very trusted people. But so far the news has already spread, and we've already got some extra people as well. So there's a lot of alternative education. I actually thought I'd spend this week doing uni work, but it's so busy, I don't think I will. But that's okay.
So why choose the Esther Simpson building in particular, with many buildings on campus, some more central and visible, also accessible?
Well, a lot of it was purely to do with logistics. So we were originally thinking, we thought through a lot of locations, and this one, it's good accessibility, but mainly the kind of idea that we're going for is to disrupt business as usual. So it's the idea that society has carried on for 42 years, I believe, since the first proper backed up report by BP, I believe, proving the greenhouse effect and what's happening. So we're trying to disrupt the kind of continuing of business as usual, and this is the business school. So this is where business as usual and business of the future will be coming from, and we think it sends the message to the right faculty and also provides a space that is appropriate for what we're doing.
We picked Esther Simpson for 2 main reasons. Firstly, it's one of the biggest on campus, so it's disruptive. We don't really want to cause disruption, but it is the only thing that really gets university and management and people in those positions of power in general to really listen. So we picked it for that. And then also, because it is business as usual that is killing us, it's this idea that we can just keep on going. It's this idea that we can have infinite growth on a finite planet. And so if it is business as usual that is killing us, we have to disrupt that business.
So you've talked about so far a bit about your reasoning for the disruption, but as a bit of an addressal, let's say, to students who are perhaps missing lectures, seminars, I know of some even missing exams this week, who may be a bit annoyed or not quite understand what's going on, do you have anything to say to them in particular?
I just want to say, we're students too. We don't necessarily want to be doing this. And it is annoying when your lectures are moved to a different place or even on Zoom in some people's cases. But, this is the way change happens. It's not pleasant, it's not nice, but it's worked throughout history. And we're not actually asking for really unreasonable things. The ethical careers policy, we already don't allow companies like tobacco to come in. So actually, we're not asking them to create this whole new thing. We're just extending it. The same with investments. We don't invest in, for example, like pornography or like really harmful industries. So again, it's just about expanding it. And none of this is new. Other universities do it too. So it's actually so simple for the university to meet our demands. These are not unreasonable demands. So if you want to speed up the process, contact the Vice-Chancellor, come on in, build up this disruption, and it won't last as long.
Well, the idea is that this is a disruption. In this case, it is caused by us, but the disruption does not originate with us. So either way you look at it, disruption is coming from the damage that's being done to the planet and to our society. And since it's a human-made problem, we need human-made solutions before other solutions are given to us by the planet.
So how have you found the reception so far, whether that be from students, lecturers, seminar leaders, security? What's your experience been?
On the whole, it's been quite positive, mainly just curious. We had one lecturer at the beginning that was understandably very unhappy. We disrupted her lecture, and I think she thought it was a bit personal towards the business department. We did pick it because it's symbolism, but we're not against any lecturate per se. But on the whole, yeah, it's been, lots of people have been asking if they can bring things in for us. The security staff, although they haven't been like raving about us, they know that we did, or similar groups did an occupation last academic year in favour of the strikes, so they know that we're just here to have a just and fair world. So I think they're being reasonable, which is nice.
Throughout the day, it was mainly a big spike at the beginning of opposition, and it's kind of calmed down throughout the rest of the day. So we had one lecturer who got very, very upset about the disruption of the 9 a.m. with her students, but the response from the students was different after our speeches. But we also, after that, we had some discussions with the faculty and just discussed how their position could be used in a more sustainable way, and a way that is more aligned with the general will of what the student body would like. So, and security have been fine. It was just they had concerns literally about health and safety, which we were happy to cooperate with them on. So it's all been very non-confrontational for the most part, and very effective, hopefully.
So what has been your sort of tactic and methodology so far for public outreach?
Well, our philosophy is 100% kind of non-violent strategy. So taking after a lot of the philosophers of the 20th century about how to go about non-violent direct action. And we draw a big distinction between non-violence and not being violent. So our goal is essentially to be disruptive, which goes beyond what not being violent would be. So not being violent would include things like writing to your MP, going to lawful demonstrations, stuff like that that's been done for, nearly 50 years. And nothing's happened with that, so we take a more disruptive approach, falling short of anything that directly damages people, especially, or property. So it's more about disruption, but for the purposes of education rather than for its own sake.
Yeah, we're trying to have as many conversations as possible. Obviously this morning was very busy and just logistics for getting in. But we stand out every time there's new people coming in and out, trying to talk to them. We have teams of people on the outside, dropping banners, giving out leaflets. We hope to have some rallies later on, some creative things outside for those that can't come in. And we're also trying to keep this space as open as possible. Security aren't necessarily letting people in, but we have found a way. So people have been coming in to give different talks, just to join in. People have heard about it from their lectures, and they've actually come and they've joined our Liberating Education talk, they've joined our Palestine talk. We have so many alternative lectures happening, so we're really excited to see more and more students coming in and getting involved with a different way of learning.
Fantastic. So, as you're talking about, or as we are talking about the movement as a whole, while it's great to see there's much involvement and participation, one criticism which I personally see brought up time and time again is one of demographics. That being that the climate change movement, or people trying to combat it actively, are often predominantly white, predominantly middle class, and have the means to do so. Do you believe this is the current case? Do you believe it's a real issue? And if so, how do you think we'd go about addressing that if it is the case?
Yeah, I think one of the most amazing PR tactics that fossil fuel industries have created is this image of this nice, polite, middle-aged environmentalist who loves their allotment and they love their walks in the forest, and that's why they do it, which is completely valid, and I'm really glad there's so many people like that in the movement. But really, the movement is so diverse, and there are so many people in it. But I agree, like, there is an issue, like, you know, there is a certain demographic, and I can't really blame people. I grew up in a really working class area in Manchester, and people are not focusing on the next 5 years if they're really struggling to heat their homes or feed their kids in the next month. So it is an issue, and I think what we need to do about it is we need to see everything as one crisis. The cost of living, the climate crisis, is all the cost of greed. This is all stemmed from the same system, the same people doing this, and we need to meld them together. It's not fighting for this one or that one. Like, it's one fight. It's fighting against oppression. It's fighting against capitalism. It's fighting for people's lives.
I believe that in terms of demographics, that's definitely something that the climate movement, it hasn't had as much diversity as it could have done. But the main reason for this is you have to look at who has time and who can get arrested, like who is safe being arrested. So obviously myself, even though I've covered my face, I'm a white man, and it is a lot easier for me to get arrested. I'll be treated a lot better than if I had black skin. So that's one reason why maybe it is more white people who are willing to get involved in more direct action, but that's the result of, you know, ingrained racism in our society. But in terms of the middle class, you know, it's mainly like students / pensioners. It's who's got time. You know, like most people are being fucked by this government anyway, and most people can't heat their homes in the winter. So people have, I was going to say better things to do, but, you know, more urgent things to do. So that's why it's mainly focused in this section of society. And also it's something that affects everyone. So it's less so one. Well, obviously, in the grand scheme of things, it is the global south that's being targeted by the bad effects of climate change. But within this society, it is those who have time, those who can take a day off work, and those who are comfortable participating in actions that may result in them having to deal with the police.
So far, you've been occupying the building for a day. Ideally, if I understand correct, the outcome is you want the university, the faculty, to listen and accept these demands. Should the university decide no, or no resolutions arrived, what's next?
Well, we're prepared to stay as long as it takes. We have a lot of resources in here. We managed to bring in a lot, and we also have control of lots of doors. We have loads of people wanting to bring food and supplies in. There's always talk and room for escalation. We're going to decide that really democratically within, but we really don't want to do that. But you know, this is our lives, this is our future, this is, well, not just our future, but the present of so many around the world. So it's not really a thing that we can just get up and leave once we're bored of here.